Let's take a look at Reading Comprehension Camp. My name is Barbara Fernandez, and today we are going to take a look at not only what the app does, but go over all of the different features and overview of the app. So whether you already own the app and want to learn how to use all the features, or whether you're looking to buy the app, this is a very comprehensive overview of Reading Comprehension Camp by Smarty Ears. Let's get started. As you can see here, the app has these different profiles that allows you to add readers. Whether you're a parent, an educator, or a speech therapist, you can go ahead and select an avatar for one of your students or your own child. I'm going to go ahead and select this avatar right here. I'm going to call her Barbara. Confirm. Now I have 2 readers. I can add as many readers as you want. The reason that you have these profiles here is that the app is tracking how well the reader is doing on the different stories and the quizzes about the stories. So let's go ahead and get started to explore the different stories. The app includes tons of different stories. Now, what makes the app really special is the fact that you can have stories with different reading difficulty levels. So these here are stories on level 1. In some stories, you will see that you have the same story, but they get more complex with the same levels. We have more details, but the content stays very similar. So let's take a look, for example, at this very first story called Long Years of Experience. I'm going to press play here.
Barbara has a dog. His name is Stitch. Stitch has long ears. Barbara and Stitch are at the park. Stitch is always happy.
So you do get an audio reading of the story. And as you can see, this is the length of a story for level 1. I'll go back later and show the different lengths of the different story levels in just a minute. Because what we'll do now is take a look at the quiz. But as we are here, I can adjust the font to make the font bigger. And I can also make the image smaller or larger to adjust for the font size. So let's actually go back and keep our font a little larger because it's a large story. Now here you can let the child, the student, read the story on their own or have a listen, then read it. And then they can also use a voice recording. Make sure you allow that access to have the user read the story. They can play back and listen to the story with their own voice. Let's go ahead and go to the quiz. As we are on the quiz setting, you can see that it is possible to either do all the questions for that story or remove some question types from the quiz. If you think the child is ready for inferencing questions, compare and contrast, and vocabulary questions, you leave it all selected. It's already all automatically selected for you. And then once you're ready to get started, we click on Start Quiz. So you will see here,
Barbara has a dog.
You can always tap to hear the story again. And you have the questions here on the left side. So the child can click on
Who is Stitch's owner?
If they are still learning to read, because we need to separate reading comprehension, which can also be listening comprehension, to actually decoding the words. So the child can have some audio support on the questions.
Who is Stitch's owner?
Who's Stitch's owners? So now the really cool thing here is that they can click on the hint button if they need a little support in trying to find the location on the story where the answer is located for that particular question. Who is Stitch's owner? Is it dog, ears, Stitch, or Barbara? It is Barbara. Then we'll go ahead and check. That is correct. Then we go to the next one. Now, one of the special things about Reading Comprehension Camp is the fact that we can have as much support, but we can slowly remove that support. So for example, here, I can fully remove the actual story. And now for the second question, maybe the child needs to remember what she read on the story.
What does Stitch have?
If I click on the wrong question and I click check, you can see that the question gets eliminated and the child can actually try again. long ears. Go to the next. I can also completely take off that image and only leave the questions. Where are Barbara and Stitch? No, no, correct. Now what I'm going to do here is finish the quiz. And that's where we are taking to a report card. I'm going to go click on Barbara. Now notice how beautiful this report and very informative. We have here all the different areas of questions format. Who, what, where, when, why, how, inferences, cause and effect, compare and contrast, sequencing, vocabulary, context, clues. And as as Barbara navigates all the different stories, this profile of her reading skills and her reading comprehension and her answering WH questions and specific types of questions are going to get filled up. But you also get an overview of that particular story. So you can see that it was 33% accurate. It was a 101 because we can do group activities, so you can determine if that makes it easier or harder. It took her 2 minutes to answer 3 questions. She did answer who correctly, but she used the hint. So that will tell you something. Now we're going to go back and we're going to start over. And this time I'm going to get Barbara and Lou together. Now, let's pick a level 3 story. Let's pick this one. So as you can see, the story is a little longer. You can do all the same things, but now I'm going to go directly to the quiz. On the quiz, you have the same options to remove a particular question or leave them there. So for example, I can remove all of these other questions. And on the settings, this settings is different from the previous one. How many wrong options do you want? If you want to make it easier, you can remove, the default is 3, but you can always have just 2 or just 1. So you have 1 correct and 1 incorrect. You also can determine what do you want to happen when they get it wrong. Do you want the question eliminated? Do you want it to cross, or do you want it to hear a buzz? Usually eliminated is my favorite option. Now, the app is available in English and Portuguese. We're working to add more languages to the app. And you have the speak function enabled. Display story art. Now, if the speak option is enabled, it means that they can listen to the questions. Now, over here, we have 2 different kids working to answer questions about the same story. But what's really neat is that now I can have my story. As you can see, Barbara is selected. You have your question. I'm going to check. And remember how I selected the settings to remove the wrong question? If they clicked wrong, notice how the questions are being removed. And now I have this correct. If I click next, I can let Barbara continue to answer this question, or I can switch to Lou and let Lou take his turn in answering the questions. Now I can go back to Barbara, or you can, as you're sitting and working with these students, they can actually tell you who knows the answer to the question. You can do it that way. There is a variety of different creative ways that you can utilize to determine who is actually answering the question. And this is important because then we get to see the individual data for each individual child using the app. So Lou has his data and Barbara has her own data. As you can see now, Barbara tried the skating magic and she got 2 answers. They were both wrong. 1 minute there. Here we have, and then you can see that slowly the profile for the answers are going to get completed. Now, as I promised earlier, I'm going to show a quick sample on the different levels for the different stories. You guys saw level 1. Now we're going to go to a level 2. Then I'm going to go to level 3, level 4, and level 5. So as you can see, the child can progress with slightly more complex stories and different levels of difficulty. But all of these different stories have all of the different 10 types of questions for them to answer so that they continue to make progress on not only on their reading comprehension or listening comprehension, however you present to the story, as well as answering specific types of questions. Sometimes kids do understand the story, but when you go check their comprehension, their ability to answer, let's say, inferencing questions, they need more work on that. So that was it for an overview of this beautifully redesigned app by Smarty Ears called Reading Comprehension Camp. You can download the app on iPad devices or use on MacBooks. The app's not available on the iPhone, but we're working on that and hope to have it available shortly.